and Week 15 on the horizon. Fantasy playoffs bound. Ready to go.
It's been an exciting football season. I assume you made it to the fantasy playoffs based on the excitement I hear in your voice.
Oh yeah, man! I got a big money league ready to go. I already cashed out a little money from the regular season payouts, and now I'm ready to move on against our own Carson Niehoff. I'm playing this week, so can't wait to take him down.
Okay, an exciting matchup there. We got some exciting matchups in the NFL, and that leads us right to our first topic. What I'm calling the game of the week, division rivalry, AFC South leaders, Houston Texans, taking on the Tennessee Titans. This game's down in Nashville. Both teams are 8-5, tied at the front of the AFC South. Derek, what do we got for this game?
Well, I thought this really should be the flex game. It's the Steelers versus the Bills, but maybe they're just trying to get Bills some national attention and give them some TV time. But Texans and Titans, 8-5, battle in the AFC South. It's gonna be a great game. Last year they split the series 1-1. We all know Tannehill's the hot talk on the street right now. 73% completion percentage. He's 6-1 with the Titans right now. He's on fire right now. Derrick Henry has 13 touchdowns, leading the league in touchdowns. He's unstoppable at this point. That being said, Houston is just a fireball of offense. And, I feel like this game is not going to be a running game. Derrick Henry versus the Texans has only averaged 46 yards in his career versus the Texans, which means the running game is not going to be that much of a factor for Tennessee. I see that the Titans are the second most penalized team in the NFL, which I think if Deshaun Watson exploits them a little bit, throws a couple of deep balls to Hopkins, Stills, draw some penalties, and get downfield, essentially have a big scoring threats there. Overall, this game is going to be a high-scoring, vertical threat game. I'm calling the Texans on the road.
Wow, the Titans, since Tannehill took over, that offense has been good. A.J. Brown lit it up last week. Some are saying he's going to light it up again. Obviously, you never know. But I think it's a bold prediction saying that Derrick Henry is going to be shut down. He's been the workhorse for this team, and he's been their go-to offensive threat. But the Texans, their defense has been playing a little bit better than I expected, especially since J.J. Watt went down a couple weeks ago.
Well, the Texans have allowed the sixth most passing yards, and the Titans have allowed the eighth most passing yards. So I just feel like these defenses are just very fluid, and both these quarterbacks are going to be having a little shootout. Derrick Henry is not involved in the passing game, as we all know. I just told you about his 46 yards a game average against the Texans. I just feel like it's going to be more of a vertical threat. I think if Will Fuller might be an X factor here, if he's out of the game. Kuti had a big fumble last week. Still really isn't getting his targets. I think it's going to be Watson and Hopkins all day versus Tannehill and A.J. Brown all day. I just feel like that's the matchup to watch. Like whoever has the better matchup is going to come out on top.
It's always exciting seeing a young guy with a new quarterback in a new city with Tannehill and A.J. Brown. I'm rooting for that duo right there. I'm a little bit over the hype of the Texans. I was big on them early in the season, but I'm jumping on the Tennessee Titans train right now, and I want to see them win this game.
I just love watching Watson. He's so fun to watch, man. If he can exploit that defense and get Hopkins, they're one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos in the league, and they're just exciting to watch. So, also as a fan, I don't necessarily look forward to watching the Titans. I look forward to watching the Texans. I want to see them score and get the playoffs.
I agree with you there. The thing I do like about the Texans, actually, is that their defense sort of is on the worst side, and we get to see their offense really score some points, which obviously no one likes a defensive battle. They want to see the scoring. That's why all the rules protect the quarterback.
And just remember too, in 2 weeks they play again in Houston. So, this is just a warm-up game for them.
These next 2 games between them is gonna be what decides who wins this division. And I mean, the Colts are right in it too. This division, it's up for grabs. But that's leading us to our next topic. You mentioned Hopkins, you mentioned Watson, thinking they're gonna have a big game. Give me some other players throughout the league that you think are gonna have a monster Week 15.
Well, I mean, you're always going to look at Tampa and their turnovers and Winston, and you're always going to get some offensive availability from his turnovers. I'm picking Kenny Galladay. He's had 7 touchdowns in his last 7 games. Even with Blow behind center, he still has 2 touchdowns in his last 2 games. Kenny Galladay versus the league's worst-ranked passing defense is going to score another touchdown this week. I do have another big name that is going to be a beast, and everybody loved watching him this past Sunday, George Kittle. He had a monster game on Sunday. He's going to keep it rolling. He's had 3 touchdowns in his last 4 games. Atlanta's given up the 6th most points to fantasy tight ends. And I just think, like, Kittle's on a roll. We're going to keep rolling him, and I love his game. He's one guy, you don't want to get into a bar fight with. That guy is tough, man. You saw that run at the end of the game last week? Wow.
Big play. The thing with San Francisco in general and George Kittle and the Falcons, you never know what Atlanta team you're going to get. If you get this team that's out there slinging the ball around, scoring the points, Jimmy G, George Kittle, they're going to have to put points on the board. The 49ers defense is obviously one of the best, but if the Falcons put some points on the board, George Kittle, I mean, he's going to eat. And I'm sure he does regardless. He's one of the best tight ends, if not the best, in the game at the moment. I want to talk about Kenny Galladay a little bit. That game, as we see a ton, those games against the Bucs, they're shootouts. We witnessed one this week. Jameis Winston obviously throwing all those interceptions, but threw enough touchdowns that got them the win. Do you expect another game like that against the Buccaneers here?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it is in Detroit, so it's a dome game, which always prevents well for points being scored. It all relies on this David Blow guy. I mean, if he can keep throwing the ball and getting Galladay and getting Marvin Jones involved, it'll be a back and forth affair. Otherwise, I could see the Buccaneers ultimately winning this game, just because their defense is better. As long as Winston doesn't make 4 turnovers as usual, I could see them taking this game down. But if he does make a couple turnovers, the Lions have no running game at all. So it's going to rely on Marvin Jones and Kenny Galladay against, like I said, the league's worst passing defense, and that's where my bet is right now.
I mean, Galladay and Jones, Stafford went down, and they started to produce a little bit. Something the league didn't really expect. But, I mean, what were they doing with Jeff Driscoll? I mean,
like I said, 7 touchdowns in the past 7 games for Galladay. I mean, you can't beat those stats. You bet on him again.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're talking about the players that do good in Week 15. Let's go to the players that don't do good. Dumpster diver time. Give me a player that you think is going to just lay a goose egg, not perform up to the standard that everyone's expecting them to perform in Week 15.
Well, my dumpster diver this week is someone that I really don't care for in my personal rankings, but just because he's a Packer. But I think Davante Adams is in for a little rude awakening this week. I feel like the Packers have all of a sudden came to realize that they don't have to throw it to Davante Adams 12, 15 times a game in order for them to win. It was proven last week. Even though they faced the Redskins, they only targeted Davante Adams 6 or 7 times last week. He only had 4 catches for 41 yards. That's not very indicative of a number 1 receiver. I just feel like it's going to be 13 degrees at Lambeau Field on Sunday. I feel like the running game is they know is their bread and butter right now. And facing the Bears defense, any one of the corners can lock up all their wide receivers. The passing game is not the place to go against the Bears. You need to run against the Bears. And I feel like that's what they're going to do, whether it's a combination of Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. But Devontae Adams is just not gonna be that player that you're all expecting this week. Put him on your bench.
I mean, this entire season, I don't think we've really seen the Devontae Adams the world expects. He was dealing with the injury for a while, but even before then, he didn't really have those monster games that we become used to these past couple years. But they are playing a great defense. Obviously, we know this with the Bears, but I mean, it's always hard to bet against Aaron Rodgers, but with Aaron Jones doing so good, I guess it makes sense.
Even with in the past 3 weeks, the past 2 games before this past one, he had 15 targets and 12 targets, but he only had 6 and 7 catches, so his catch percentage was under 50%.
Yeah.
They're just forcing him the ball. Now that they realize they don't have to force him the ball, they're actually doing a little bit better on offense, and I feel like Devontae Adams is just going to be, he's still going to be a high floor wide receiver, but he's not going to be that big breakout guy.
Do you think it's to a point with him where people in the playoffs of fantasy, they do actually put him on the bench this week?
No, you can never do that. You have to start your guys. Never, ever, ever. I mean, if you drafted him in the first 6 or 7 rounds, whatever player it is, you have to play those guys. Don't get too cute. You'll only kill yourself later if you sat Devontae Adams and he had, 8 for 100 and a touch. I mean, he could do that at any time, but
he's a one-play guy. One play, he get a touchdown, 100 yards. It's what it is. You don't want to overcoach. That's what it comes down to. All right, so he's our dumpster diver for the week. Let's move on to a new segment called What If. This one hits home a little bit for me because we're going to talk about my team, the Oakland Raiders, who have let me down this year. But my what if scenario has to do with a guy that sort of fell out of the news when he was in the news for pretty much the entire training camp and first 2 weeks of the season, Antonio Brown. What if Antonio Brown stayed on the Raiders?
What if we didn't talk about Antonio Brown? There would be no Antonio Brown. It wouldn't matter. This guy is irrelevant right now. But the fact that you want to talk about him, Shane, it's fine. I get it. You're a Raider fan. That's what you want to do. I understand. We could talk about Thielen because I'm a Viking fan. I get it. But no, we'll talk about Antonio Brown.
The Vikings are in the playoff hunt. They're in the playoff hunt.
That's what we should be talking about, not a guy that's not in the league anymore. But we'll talk about Antonio Brown a little bit. Listen, the main thing that's the problem with the Raiders is their defense. It's not their offense. Their offense is doing fine. They're ranked 15th in the passing this year, which is not great, but it's not bad. Their defense, they lost Jonathan Abram, which was their solid safety stud this year. They lost Carl Joseph, so both their starting safeties are out. That's the bigger problem for the Raiders this year, besides the fact that Gruden's a little old school and their play calling is a little lackluster. I don't think Antonio Brown was necessarily make or break for the Raiders this year. I feel like it's more a little bit of injuries, and I don't know, like their second tier players are just not that great. When you're talking about Tyrell Williams and Hunter Renfrow, I think they're pieces, but they're not an answer.
Well, that leads me to the point of this what if scenario. These guys just can't get open. Derek Carr, I mean, I'd say he's a better quarterback in the NFL, a better half. Maybe that's biased. I'm a Raider fan, but he's no Tom Brady, no Aaron Rodgers back there. Antonio Brown on the field, all of a sudden you have a guy that can actually get open. I mean, this team could very well have 1 or 2 or 3 more wins. All of a sudden they're in playoff contention, going right up with the Chiefs for the division lead.
Yeah, I mean, we can sit there and do the what ifs about Antonio Brown and the Raiders, but it never happened. Who knows? Maybe he was going to concussion with his little baby helmet that he didn't want to wear.
Frostbitten feet.
Yeah, I have no clue what's going to happen next to this guy. Next time maybe he's missing a fingernail. What's next for this guy? I don't get it.
Yeah, Antonio Brown is missing the whole 2020 season because he got an ingrown toenail. Nothing against ingrown toenails. All right, so let's lead to the next thing. What if he played in the Patriots? Are the Patriots undefeated at this point?
Well, I mean, the one game Antonio Brown played with the Patriots, they won 43-0. But it was against the Dolphins. So
And that was before Fitzmagic got his groove on a little bit.
That's before the magic happened to Fitzmagic. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, yes, he's going to make any team better, and the Patriots would probably utilize him a little bit more better than I would say John Gruden. I'd say the Patriots would do a little better job with this. As you could tell in their first game, he went 4 for 60 or something and a touchdown. The one thing that's a little understated right now is the Patriots offense. Everybody's talking about they don't have the weapons. Tom Brady doesn't have this. They're 9th in passing offense. That's no slouch. Like they're in the top third of the league in passing. So would Antonio Brown really bring that much to them? I don't know. It may push the needle a little bit. Don't get me wrong, and it may draw some attention. But ultimately Edelman's his guy, and that's who's always been there, and he's still there year after year, game after game. Edelman and game script for the Patriots is what brings them wins.
Well, it looks like we did just get a question come in over our Facebook live stream. This is coming from the Human Rice Ball 89. What team will Antonio Brown be on next year? And will he be back in the league?
What team will he be on next year? Wow. I don't know, man. I could see, the Redskins will take anybody. So if he wanted to go play for the Redskins, they would sign him up. I don't know. I feel like Seattle is that place that's going to take those chances on those wide receivers. They already did it with Josh Gordon. I could just say, like, hey, give me all your misfits, and we're going to try and bring them in and haul them in around our boy Russell. And I think Seattle is my landing spot for Antonio Brown.
They're following the Patriots playbook of taking in the receivers no one wants. Or they're done with dealing with the deep receivers like the Patriots have done as well. So, okay, that was What If. And we are now on to our final segment, Flaming Hot Take. Derek, say your piece. Give me a hot take for the day.
This is something that boils my blood. I can't stand every single round of the baseball playoffs, whether you win the division, you win the wild card, you win the championship series, you win the World Series, there's a champagne shower after every one of them. Why? Champagne flowing everywhere. Everybody's got their special goggles on, branded on the side. Now it's Budweiser. Like, is it Budweiser? Is it champagne? Like, what is it supposed to be? Like, in the NFL, when do they do that? Do they do that after winning every game? No. The Super Bowl only. It should be the World Series win only. NBA championship only. These were special moments. Now it's just outplayed and it's so overproduced and just, it just grinds my gears to no end. I can't stand it. Get it out of here. Stop wasting all the alcohol. Bring it to the bar. Drink it. Stop spraying it all over the place. It's a waste of time.
Okay, so Derek, I love that you brought this up. I've been saying it for years. I've been saying I'm not so much against the champagne shower as I am against the protection. The thing I hate, absolutely hate about a champagne shower, they wear the goggles. The lockers are all plasticed up. No, the whole point, if you want to have a champagne shower or a Bud Light shower or whatever you want to pour on you, you take the risk of injuring your eyes.
You wipe your eyes.
Getting your gear dirty. That's the whole beauty of it. If you're sitting there having everything laid out, what's the point? The cool part was the spontaneity of it. You never knew when it was going to happen until you had that one crazy guy start shaking the bottle up when everyone else is just trying to do a little toast.
Everybody's out there freaking planned on it. Like, they're all sitting there waiting and everything. I can't stand it. And another thing that bothers me is these reporters. Stop saying, what are you feeling right now? Enough. They just won the World Series. What do you mean, what am I feeling right now? I don't want to hear some generic answer. They're gonna be like, "Oh, I feel great. I'm on top of the world. I can't thank my team." Blah 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 blah. No, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear like the mic'd up stuff. I want to hear stuff that's in the huddle. Like I want to hear the stuff that like they're celebrating about. These reporters need to get out of here right away. That's for after those celebrations.
Let the players live a little bit. Let them enjoy the moment. I couldn't agree with you more. This might have been my favorite flaming hot take because, like I said, I hate the champagne shower protection. Maybe this year we get, I don't know, whoever wins the Super Bowl. Maybe they ditch the glasses. Maybe they ditch the goggles. They're football players. Who knows? Get the locker room a little dirty. That's what I say.
Now it's just all about sponsorship too. It's all about like who's on the side of the goggle, what's in the background of the plastic. Like, get out of here.
It's terrible. I expect it from the baseball players because hey, they're baseball players. But,
yeah, but like,
NFL, please
you
don't
won
let me
a
down
wild
this year.
card game. You won a 1-game playoff,
No.
and now you're celebrating. 1-game playoff, and you're celebrating like with champagne. No, doesn't make sense.
Okay, champagne showers. Guys, hit us in the comments. What do you think? Champagne showers, good, bad, pathetic? Let us know what you think. That is our last topic of the day. This is PlaySqorr Live. Remember, download the PlaySqorr app on the App Store, Google Play Store. Visit our webpage. Use the promo code PlaySqorrTV. You'll get a match deposit of up to $25. And that concludes our episode of PlaySqorr Live. Derek, thanks for joining us. It was a pleasure as always. And we'll talk to you guys soon.